The owner here with hey within Symmetry. I'm gonna be jibber jabbering with y'all a little bit today. Pretty pumped.
Hold up, Wilbur.
Okay.
Hold up, Wilbur. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We
Hello.
can't let you introduce yourself. Man, we got to do this right. I don't know what your parents were thinking having kids in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but
Horrible
they
idea.
they uh they did something they did something right with you, man. And for those of you who haven't met Wilbur, I'll take the honor of introducing him. This guy's one of my best friends, one of the first people I met when once I decided to go full time with Cemetery, and we've built a relationship. And I've got to watch him grow his family and his business from the sidelines as a partner. And just love this guy. Can't wait for you guys to hear from him this morning. Wilbur, you deserve to be introduced and to be honored in this way. So I just wanted to take 2 minutes and do that. But man, just talk about momentum. Talk about the desire to grow and the willingness to be coachable. I think those things, when they're mixed together, it's a recipe for growth. And we are excited to see what you do over the next couple months, dude. Have fun today. Let's go.
Thanks, Scott. Love you, dude. He likes to do that when I lead calls. He likes to throw me off, get me in my feels a little bit. And then he's like, all right, man, take the wheel. And I'm like, cool, thanks, bro. Got you. Totally. But yeah, I am grateful to be here, and I'm like wildly grateful for this platform. I was texting with Jamie and Anna last night, and I'm like, this particular call has opened so many doors for, like, I'm speaking for myself, but I know so many others too when it comes to association, connection, and growth, right? And so don't sleep on the fact that you get to be here and get involved in whatever way possible that might be. And honestly, like, I've got a tall order today because Monday Jim kicked us off with some heat. Darren came on here. All right, all 130 equity partners the last 3 days, right? Darren came on here and dropped some knowledge. And then, like, how do you follow Sarah up yesterday? And, like, to take a second on that though, those of you who were at AOA 1, I can only speak on one because I wasn't in AOA 2 in the room there, but those of you who were there, how many times did you hear the name Sarah Reinecke during that day, right? Referencing something her agency has done, something that she's done for Symmetry as a whole, like every other time, right? And then if you looked at the 130s that were on the panel, I think half of them were under Sarah, which is wild. So, we're all grateful that you're for that call yesterday for sure, and I especially am. But if you would have asked me like a few weeks ago after following that, I probably would have led in with some sort of self-deprecating comment, like, now you guys get to hear from me. But the fact of the matter is, the movement that I'm attempting to go at now with our agency and the people that I'm connecting with, like, those are all 130 equity partners, but you're also listening to one in the making. And I'll go ahead and claim that now because, like, why else would I be here? Like, why else would really anybody be here if you're not striving to get to a goal that's bigger than what you believe you can get to right now? So today I wanted to kind of talk about a couple of things, and I'll see if I can streamline my brain here. I've learned over the last few weeks after taking some time with Brian Williamson that my what is it? I'm a connective creator. And on the other thing, whatever the other order he used, basically my brain is like a bowl of spaghetti. So my thoughts race around really, really fast all the time. So today I'm gonna talk about a few things. One of them being contrary action, right? And, like, I don't know if any of you have heard that term, and if you hear those two words together, contrary action, like, throw in the chat what you might think that means. Um, right? And so, like, if you think about the word contrary, it's something that is maybe opposing to something, right? And then what is action, right? It's a movement, it's a choice, it's a decision that you've made to take upon something. And so contrary action is actually a positive thing if you twist it that way. So in this business, right, and most of us came here probably not really knowing anything about insurance. You probably weren't a young kid wanting to get into the insurance space. And all of a sudden, people are like, you need to personally develop. You need to do this. You need to make all of these dials and do all of these things. And you don't know how to do that. And so the only way that you do is by taking action that's contrary to what you want to do, which is probably freeze, right? And so in this field specifically, if you take what you've got, if you take some of the suggestive items that we have on a daily basis through our, the cornerstones, our resources, everything, you can go against what you want to do, which is be comfortable, and that promotes growth, right? If you're doing something against your natural like state, then you're creating a friction within yourself that if you can break through on the other side of that, you're always going to end up better for it. And so my question, I guess, is if that's the case here, right? And for me, an example of that in recent times is we hit agency owner back in April. Not gonna lie, we hit a little bit of slump, right? And that was all because of me, right? That some of the decisions that I had made, that it didn't keep the momentum. Scott mentioned the word momentum, that he didn't, I didn't keep it up. I didn't continue doing some of the things that I was doing to get us there. And because of that, we went down a little bit, and that's all right. I was honestly forewarned a little bit about that, but I didn't listen. And so I had to get uncomfortable and I had to go and reach out. And what's wild is there's 407 people on this call, and a good bit of those people are probably a few steps ahead of where you are, right? And so the question is, if you're struggling with something and a contrary action to you might be reaching up and out, why are you reaching out to the people who are doing the same thing that you're doing in the same position? How is that going to get you or me where we need to go if we're confining on a daily basis on people that are in the same exact position that we're in, figuring it out? So you take two people, it's like two dead batteries start trying to start a car. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. And so I had to get uncomfortable and reach out on a couple of different ways. One, my production, I always joke around, I always say like I'm bipolar with production. Like I'll have a 15 issue K, right? I'll have a 15K issue. I'll sometimes get north of 20. I've done it. And then I have like a 6 grand. I'm like, what is that? What's going on here? Right. And that's because I was basing it off of like a couple of good week streaks within these months. So I had to reach out. I had to reach out to an elite producer who put me in check right away. Right. Two things happened actually. Christina Watts on a Be a Better Builder call said if you're an agency owner or a key leader or really at anything minus like issuing 225K a month, right? You need to be putting 10K issued on the board no matter what. And I heard that very loud and clear. And I've done that plenty of times, but I'm like, all right, I want to get consistent with this and I want to hit bigger numbers. So I asked for help. I got coaching, I got put in my place on a few things and I changed it. So last month, and that was in the last 3 weeks of September. And I wrote down in my notebook, I'm gonna add 10K of deposits in this next 3 weeks. So in those 3 weeks, we ended up issuing 17 grand and putting 10 grand of deposits into our account, right? And that was off of a decision, and that was off doing something contrary to what I wanted to do, which was figure it out on my own. Instead, I reached out and I got some coaching and I got some help. And so whatever that looks like to you guys, like that's a self-evaluation thing, right? That's a figure it out of like what you need to do to ask somebody, how in the world can I get out of this little thing that I'm in? It's not going to be you. You're not going to get yourself out, right? It's like trying to figure out how to get out of a wet blanket. You're like, oh my God, what's going on here? And then you're going to go to somebody who's also inside of a wet blanket. Not a good idea. So find somebody that you know is a few paces ahead of you. And then yeah, so Bill just said the word ego. We're going to get to that in a second. And so if that's you, like I hope that's hitting because most of the time asking for help sometimes takes 50% of the pressure away from us. I come from a background, if you know me or heard me speak before, it's really hard for me not to reference what I used to do. I used to work in addiction treatment for 10 years. I've been in recovery for a long time. And like the first step is always asking for help, right? Because then you're finally like, okay, I get not now all the pressure's not on me. I can actually do something about it. And also you're admitting that there is an issue there, right? You're admitting that there's some sort of scenario that we've got to change. And so by reaching up and out, that the momentum is already in progress, right? But if you keep it inside, it's never gonna change. I can promise you that. And on the other side of that, the if you think about momentum and you think about action, you think about belief, and I don't want this to be controversial right now. I don't. We talk about borrowing belief a lot, right? But I think there is a fine line of borrowing belief that can keep you right where you are. It's like going to the gym and you're going to go in there and you're going to sit on the bench for 6 months and hope that your bench press increases without actually touching the bar. But the guy next to you is like, the dude next to you is lifting, and you're like, dang, man, he hit 225 last week. Oh man, this month, man, he's hitting, oh my God, he just hit 245. Man, that's crazy. And you're like, I know I'm gonna get it. I sure do. I'm gonna talk about how awesome I'm gonna hit 225 one day. And guess what? You stay skinny and weak and you don't grow and you don't get stronger, but people around you are, the rest of the gym, yeah. It's called actually doing something. And so the best way to gain belief is evidence. Evidence is the strongest belief factor that there is on the face of the earth, because if you can look back and say, oh, this is what I've done, or this is what I'm doing, or this is where I'm going, then you're proving to yourself. You don't need to borrow Rich Day's belief. You don't need to go borrow Gabby Roethlisberger's belief. Okay? Like you can create your own. And I'm not saying I do that perfectly by any freaking means. That's for damn sure. I go, Scott, I mean, Scott knows me probably better than anyone on this call. Like I can go in and out of some weird thoughts, but I do know that you're not going to take me out of the game because I continue to move forward I'm continuously trying to refine what I am doing. And so I reached out for help on production, and I got some wisdom there, right? And I took that and I implemented it. The other day, had a call. I wanted a little bit more of a violent beatdown, but it was all right. It was a nice call with Anna, Jamie, and Sarah. And Sarah gave me some medicine that I needed to hear to understand. Now, this also ties into the personal development part of this, right? Of like Brian Williamson is always so hot and heavy on talking about the voices and the way that you communicate, right? And I've learned that I am typically too nice of a person, right? I like it's harder for me to be direct from the jump. I'm a connector. So like I want you, like we gotta be friends. We gotta be friends, Joe Anderson. I need you, I want you to like me, right? And so because of that, I might not tell you the truth, and you and I might start off on a rocky relationship on accident because I'm not willing to be direct as a leader. And that's a problem, right? If I'm not able to do that as a leader, then we've run into a serious situation. And so I can there's a few action items that I know that I need to take that is going to go against my natural being to be able to grow, right? And every time we break through those resistance, every time we break through those resistance walls, we're doing two things. One, we're growing, and then we're also creating a new floor. Shout out to Jill Johnson for talking about that the other day. We're creating a new floor because once you surpass that, you're slowly raising that and you're getting closer to a higher ceiling, right? And it's just this game of constant movement up and down, right? Of like constant growth. And that's what this whole, like, if you look at a lot of the suggestions here, that's why personal growth is such a big thing. And so when and Bill mentioned the word humility, and I wanted to talk about this for a second because I believe I can identify really quickly why most people aren't willing to ask for help. And I am a connector creative. Okay, I'm learning this. So my creative is my second nature here. So see if I can do this right. I'm about to use my artistic ability live in front of 444 people. Let's see if this, Joe, can I share? I can do it now. New whiteboard. I've never done this. No, you can't open a whiteboard during a screen share. Oh, Joe, you got to stop sharing. Get out of here. Go on, get. All right, let's do this. All right. So in the recovery world, when I used to help people, I still help people. I shouldn't say I used to. How do I make this bigger? All right. We talk about the definition of humility, right? Because no, get out of here, Rich Day. Why are you drawing on my thing? All right. We talk about humility, right? Let's pretend humility is this line that kind of goes like this. Dude, whoever is drawn on my whiteboard, get out of here. All right. So let's pretend it's this like kind of straight line. I swear. We're If you're touching your mouse, go ahead and stop.
I think there's also a way to disable that, Wilbur, that only allows like co-hosts to do it.
How do I do that, Andrew?
I'm trying to scan
This is
around.
the most
Okay,
wild thing I
If
have
someone's
ever
doing this on
seen.
purpose right now, they're getting their contracts terminated.
Dude, we're gonna
Top
sign
right,
This is the
Wilbur.
most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Real Wilbur, top right. There's
top
like
right, top
all
right.
these the
I think a
faces,
bunch of people
drop
are
down
doing it.
button.
I think Scott was doing it.
All right, I
Hey,
got this.
hold on. Wilbur, heads up. So when you share it, the top right, there was that all the faces, and then there's a drop down. You can
Yeah.
click that drop down, and it says allow collaborator participants to edit. Just unclick that.
All right, we got it. You guys
Lock
are all
it down, Wilbur.
Andrew Jimenez is not, and you get a contract raise, although you're the top dog. All right. So pretend this is humility, right? That's a great line. I told you I'm a creative. See that straightness? And up here, we've got an external ego. Okay, let's call it. Ooh, this is getting wild. External ego. We'll call it EE. Cursor hidden because more than 10 users have joined. Oh, my sweet baby Jesus. Dude, I can't move this. This is not amazing, Trevor Tipton. Now what do we do here?
I got an idea, Wilbur. If you want to instruct me through it, I can do an overhead.
I got this. I got this. Goodness gracious. All right. So we've got a line, okay?
There we go.
We've got a line. We've got an external ego. What does that mean? What, Andrew, you're unmuted, right? What's an external ego? Maybe that you put on a face, right? Maybe you dress a certain way to make it sure that you're looking okay. Maybe you make a couple dollars and so you go and spend it just because on the outside it might look like you're doing okay, right? And then under that line, under the humility line, we've got self-esteem. Internal self-esteem. We'll call it ISE, internal self-esteem. So internal self-esteem is okay. So I'm putting on this face right now. I'm telling Sarah Hadley, I'm doing great. I'm doing so good right now. Like life couldn't be better. And then I hang up the phone and I want to my insides twist because I know that that's a lie. My insides twist because I know that the fact of the matter is my self-esteem is at an all-time low, right? And so, how in the world we talk about, Jim talks about it all the time, that people that make it at a big level have extreme emotional stability, right? So if that's the case, how do we find this line in the middle to have our behavior kind of falter around that? Well, we've got to bring our ego down. We've got to bring down that external ego and have it come down here, and then we've got to raise our self-esteem. So when those two meet in the middle, you might actually experience a little bit of humility. And if you're experiencing humility, guess what you're probably going to do? You're probably going to serve your clients better. You're probably going to lead better. You're probably going to have more belief in what you're doing. But when you live down here in your brain and in your heart, and up here is what you're presenting to the world, you're never going to have anything authentic. And if you don't have anything authentic, no one's gonna like who's gonna follow who here? Nobody, right? And so this is all a personal mission on an independent personal mission that everybody's got behaviors, everybody's got things about them to be able to conquer that. And I love that question. I think I just saw Tay Cooper. How do you bridge that gap? You're done to do esteemable acts, right? You're gonna do contrary action. Your self-esteem is dying because you're not willing to, your self-esteem is getting crushed because you're not willing to reach out, right? And then because of that, when somebody says, "How are you?" you don't tell the truth, external ego. The moment you can start the to thine own self be true, the moment that we're true to ourselves, doors will open. I promise you that. I promise you that. And so that's how you bridge that gap. And this is not some sort of like, this is really not some sort of fancy voodoo here. This is the willingness to just change. It's the willingness to change. And now the only way that we're not going to change, we've heard this a million times, is if the pain of change, right, is a little more daunting than the state of life that you're in right now. That's it. If you're fine where you're at, then the change won't come, and that's okay. That's again a personal mission. So that is sorry, that's what I've got today. Now, I will say most of the stuff that I have ever talked about or learned, like it is 2025. Like there are very few original items left, very few original statements left in this world. I can tell you that. And so today, what I would love to leave you guys with is something I took away, and I think about it a lot. It was conference in 2022. I believe it was Brad Smith got on stage. So I need a little bit of interaction here. Those of you who are sitting here, camera or not, you're driving, I don't care. Like everybody stick their arm up right now. Raise your hand. Gabby, you're cheating, I can tell. Now, raise your hand a little bit higher. You see what I mean? Like it's pretty easy to do more than you think you can do. Most of the time, you're only willing to raise your hand this much. And that might come down to the way you're dialing, it might come down to the way that you're communicating with people, it might come down to the way that you're doing whatever it might be. The fact of the matter is you can always reach higher. And so if I hope that helps somebody it was Brian Delaney. Okay, my bad. It was Brian Delaney. But yeah, either way, a giant around here that we get to learn from. So anyway, I'm grateful for this platform, grateful for you guys. And let's see here. Somebody, Joe, you got breakout. Oh, you already did it. Look at that. Cool. All right, team. Let's go party.